All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. My name is Joshua Fox. I'm a technical account manager here at Ingram, and today I'll be presenting on Aruba Central. So just going to go over a quick agenda here. First, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you might be facing out in the real world here. We're going to spend a little bit of time on Instant because Instant's a really important part of Aruba Central. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Aruba Central in general. It's going to be an overview, but it is going to be a little bit deeper than our last session where we just really quickly touched it as just a subject. After that, we're going to talk about some current promotions with Aruba Central, and then we're going to go ahead and end it off with a quick demo. All right, so I just want to say that in today's IT, environments are really changing. We have a lot of different factors, some of those being external factors and some of them being organizational challenges. Some of the external factors that we're facing in today's world is really a growing number of mobile devices. Wi-Fi has become more and more prevalent, and now pretty much everybody now has a device. Not only do they all have devices, they kind of expect every device to work anytime they connect to a network and have that application that they're trying to get to just work, no questions asked. At the same time, businesses aren't always in the same location anymore. A lot of times businesses might be in multiple sites or spread across a large geographical location. At the same time as that kind of expansion and explosion with the need of performance, we also see on the organizational side, our manpower and budget start to drop a little bit. We don't always have the same IT staff that we used to have. In fact, by 2021, Gartner is going to estimate that 40% of IT staff is going to have multiple roles, and not all those roles will just be technical. A lot of them are going to become business related. So we've actually really drawn back how much manpower we have and how much budget we're willing to give them in order to manage our networks. At the same time, we want more visibility and control, and we want to avoid firefighting as possible. We want to proactively make sure the network is good to go. And then we want the flexibility to grow and change our network and scale it out as our needs change. So as you can kind of see here, we have a lot of demand, but we don't quite have the personnel or the ability to kind of give into that demand. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about some of the IT challenges that small business and mid-market generally see themselves. And this is just a quick kind of survey that HP Aruba did, and they kind of came out with some numbers that are really interesting to keep in mind as we go through the rest of the presentation. 7 out of 10 get complaints about poor Wi-Fi in our small, medium, and mid-market base. That's 70%, so that's a pretty big number when you think about that explosion of devices we talked about a little bit earlier and those demands that we're seeing. We're seeing those demands, but the performance just isn't there. They want the affordability, right? They want the cost to be, about 50% of our SMB and mid-market business are really cost conscious. They want the cost to be low while they still want that performance. 6 out of 10 don't have an on-site IT staff. That means that they are either relying on an outside managed service provider or they have somebody in their general vicinity that's working that business and IT role at the same time. We also, 50% would like to have more flexibility, and that's where a big part of cloud Wi-Fi comes in, is to start providing that flexibility. 95% of those businesses want to have application visibility and control, and 85% want to give access to guests. So as you can see, we really have cut down on IT staff, but there's a huge demand, more performance. We want all of our applications to work. We want to see what those applications are, and we want to be able to serve guests. We want it simple, and we want it flexible. There's a lot of asks coming out of this kind of solution today, and so Aruba's here to deliver. Now, just to take a look at the overall market itself, it's quite a large market here. 0.7 billion is in your small, which is less than 100 users or so. You have your mid-market, which is about 100 to 499, and your upper mid-market, which is about 500 to 1,000. That lower mid-market and upper mid-market is a really sweet spot. Not to say you can't go higher or lower with Aruba Central, but that's a $2.9 billion business or opportunity out there that we can really try to tackle with something like an Aruba Central solution. So now that we've talked about some of the need, let's talk a little bit about some of the hardware and the underlying technology. Aruba Central is going to work with either access points or switches, and part of that intelligence and strength comes from the instant access point. It's a great feature, and it's going to work as sort of the workhorse of the environment, while your cloud is going to be acting as the management plane for that. The Aruba instance is going to give you built-in RF management. That includes your adaptive radio and your client match. Adaptive radio being the ability to change what channel you are on a dynamic basis in order to provide the best Wi-Fi. And client match is a proprietary algorithm that allows the access points to do special things like load balancing. It's going to address your sticky client situation. And in all, it's really all about saying we're going to make the best client be on the best access point so that they have the best wireless experience. Besides the RF management, we also have built-in security, firewall, and role-based access. We have wireless intrusion prevention and detection. We also have that application visibility and the ability to make rules about what people can and can't do with applications for compliance. Lastly, there's a lot of built-in resiliency in the instant platform. We have a lot of site survivability here. If one instant access point goes down, the next instant access point takes over, and the network keeps going, no problem. All in all, this is a great solution. It works very quickly to get set up. It's about 5 minutes to really set up an instant access point. So it's really loved and really awesome. What we're going to be talking about for the rest of the portion here is how Aruba Central ties into this instant access point solution. Aruba Central is going to act as your cloud management portion. You can manage Aruba operating system switches, instant access points, but you can also manage branch gateways. The branch gateways become part of our SD-WAN solution, which I'm not really going to dive into today. I'm going to be focusing more on the instant access point solution itself and what Central is going to offer us for that management. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the features that we're going to get here with Aruba Central. One of the big ones that we're going to get right off the bat is zero-touch provisioning. Now, this is really big because, as we mentioned, those IT staffs are kind of going down. You want something streamlined, easy, quick to set up. That's where this really comes into play, because I can just take an access point or a switch, send that to my end user site. They take that switch or access point, connect it in, it talks back to Aruba Central, pulls its configuration from the cloud, and you're up and ready to go. It's really like a solution in a box. You basically, whoever would be managing that can make whatever configurations they want on Aruba Central. When things are purchased, those things go into a backend system called Activate. Activate holds the information about provisioning or where the access point or switch would be getting its configuration. So that way, the first time that switch or access point is plugged in, it automatically knows to come back to Aruba Central, and you're up and ready. Now, this is important. It's streamlined deployment. You don't have to have on-site expertise. You don't have to have somebody there that really knows networking in order to get it going. It's intelligent workflow because it's really easy to get going. There's not a lot of steps to get this in place, and you're going to be providing business-grade Wi-Fi all within minutes, getting that network set up. All right, so a lot of good features here that you can get in your wired and wireless visibility. What you're seeing here is an overall just dashboard. This is what you're first going to see when you get inside of Aruba Central. You're getting a lot of comprehensive views into a lot of key areas like your network overview, client overview, or features like AppRF. You can use this dashboard to filter down globally. You can filter down into specifics that you're looking for. This is also where you're going to get to all of your maintenance for upgrading. You might be doing audits or even getting to some troubleshooting tools all right from here. Now, one thing I want to go over before we go any further is the role-based administration for managed service providers. If you're an MSP and you're providing services to multiple different groups or people, you might want to give those groups some of the management capabilities and maybe not at all. Take, for instance, you have somebody that doesn't want to manage their network at all, and they're going to pay you to do that. However, they want to have views into, say, what guests are connecting in, and they want to take advantage of all the information they're collecting with their captive portal. Well, you might then give that user the privileges to see those certain things without actually being able to make administrative changes. Let's say another customer you have, you're still the same managed service provider, but you just have another customer, and they want to just manage their entire network. They don't really want you to do that for them, but they love everything that Aruba Central does. That's okay. You can sell them Aruba Central. You can give them those administrative rights, and they're good to go. And we can do this for custom roles, and we also have preset roles. So there's a lot of ability to be flexible here with what you'd be offering with something like Aruba Central. So this is another quick dashboard here. This is going to be your network health monitoring. Now this is going to be a little bit of a higher view, letting you see all the different sites that you might have. It's going to give you some quick information about any alerts, devices, systems, user errors, those kinds of things. How's your RF? Are you healthy? Are you not healthy? From here, you can actually go down and see a lot of different metrics. You can see them in dashboards if you would like to drill down. You can have them come out to custom report, or you can use another application via APIs to collect some of that information. Let's say you drill down in a little bit further. Now you can see a specific site, and you can see what its health is like, things like system health, how hard the access points or switches are actually working, what's the RF health, what's the channel utilization looking like, is there a lot of noise in the environment, do we have a lot of RF interference. You can see all of that right here in one dashboard. You can also get health scores for your clients and see what their connectivity might be like. You can also have comprehensive alerts. You can set up alerts to come to you automatically. Now, this might be something like I have a connectivity error, a DHCP error, and I want to get an alert emailed to me. You might want your alerts to happen if there might be wireless attacks, like a rogue access point, or maybe somebody's just being malicious. Maybe if a wireless access point goes down, you want to know about it. What if you're seeing a lot of bandwidth constraints on a wired port? You might want to get an alert for that. And you might want to get an alert if users have made changes. You've made a deletion of a certain person in your organization. You've given new rights to somebody else. So you're going to get a lot of the abilities to see what alerts, what's happening, who's managing what, and who's making what changes in your environment. Now this one's really big. This is called AppRF, but it's your application, web, and content filtering. As you can see, you have different application categories, applications, web categories, and even a view on the web reputations of those categories themselves. This is a really useful tool because now you can see what traffic is going on in your network, and that lets you make very intelligent decisions on how that traffic should be prioritized. If you were to look into your categories and notice that a lot of people were doing work with a specific application. Let's just say, for example, YouTube is being used a lot in your organization. But you also see that you have a VoIP solution set up, and it's not getting the bandwidth it needs. Well, you can see that right here, and maybe from here you want to make a quality of service adjustment. You want to prioritize a certain type of traffic, or maybe you want to limit a certain type of traffic, or change what users can use what traffic. It's a really powerful reporting tool that lets you drill down, see who's doing what, block inappropriate content, and then enforce any types of rules or quality of service all from one dashboard. We also have the ability to look at what interference is happening in our network, and we can also see if we have intruders. Are people doing malicious things? Are they trying to connect in? Is there a rogue access point that I really don't want in my environment? Well, I can also see that proactively right here in this interference and intrusion detection dashboard. Now, this also works with those custom alerts, so I could have that alert and then come over to this dashboard and see what that alert might have been about. All right. So we also have a lot of different types of reports that we can do. We can do reports on things like access points, the switches, clients, what they're using, who are the top 10 clients, and what some of our uplink statuses may have been. We also can do lots of reports on the application and web. So if you don't like those categories that we saw a few slides back with those pie graphs on who is using what, well, you could kind of come right into here and get a custom generated report. You can use these reports for your capacity planning. How many access points do I have? What are they being used for? What's my switch throughput? How's my density looking? And what's my usage looking like? You can also get custom reports on things like device, client inventory, RF health, and you can even use those reports for audits. Now, a really cool thing about these reports is there's more and more coming every day. Aruba Central is a live service, so all the time you're getting updates, so there's more and more reporting as you go forward. If there's a specific type of report you want to run, there's a lot of integration with other applications through the open API system. So there's a lot you can do with these reports. You can have a lot of customization, but there's also a lot of embedded ability right inside of Aruba Central and more coming every day. All right, so that kind of covers everything we have from a portion of what you're going to get on a high-level overview of just Aruba Central. Besides all of that, we're also going to have some optional services. So after everything is said and done, we can also do a specific guest Wi-Fi access and experience service. Now, you can do guest Wi-Fi with just Aruba Central or just instant access points. You can create a captive portal. You can put your own kind of a logo and kind of a color or maybe a specific terms of acknowledgement. But that's about all you can do when it comes to the customization of this. You have a lot more that you can do once you add the guest service on. You can put your own specific logos with your own specific backgrounds, and you can have much higher resolutions. So you can think of that. I went into Starbucks and I go to connect into their Wi-Fi, and they show me a nice, beautiful picture of a coffee, and it's maybe an iced coffee, and it's sweating a little bit, and that makes you maybe want to purchase something a little bit more. At the same time, you can have all kinds of collection of people's information. Maybe you put in the terms of acknowledgement that by accepting that we can give you email campaigns, and you put your email in and so on. Now, even after we're collecting all of this and getting all of that information, with something like this, we're going to give every person a unique username and password. This is really important because you don't really want to have the insecurity of just one WPA2 username password that everybody shares. Everybody's going to have something unique, and that's going to be a lot more secure. We can also have people log in through Facebook, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, anything social account-wise. And this is important because, as you know, social media is boomed as well, so we want to be able to engage on every level that we can. So after you've engaged and you've collected all of this information, set out your terms and conditions and so on, you can also export anything you get inside of the guest Wi-Fi experience for your use later. I'm sorry, please make sure that you guys are muted. We are recording, so please just make sure you are muted unless you have a question. If you do have a question, please feel free to stop me, and I'll go ahead and stop and answer at that time. All right. So that really is going to cover everything we have on the guest Wi-Fi and experience here. All right, so we also have location-based presence analytics. Now, where guest Wi-Fi is probably going to be useful in about 85% of your situations, location-based and presence analytics really is going to excel more so in your retail type of environments. What this is going to do is give you information about who is doing what inside of your wireless environment from a perspective of, are we engaging, were they in our environment for a very long time? So take this example. Let's say that you have a mall or a location of that nature, and people are walking by your store quite frequently. Well, somebody that might walk by, you might catch them as a passerby. They didn't stay in your Wi-Fi for very long. They didn't even connect. They just walked by, and then they left. You might know that that person is a passerby. Well, you can also make some configuration changes and say if they've come in or they've connected and they've been inside of my environment, then that person is engaged. So you can really measure who is coming into your environment, how long they've been there, and how are they engaging. And you can actually pair this with something that you're doing on the outside. Let's say in this small example, you're a Nike store, and you've been putting up some promotions, and you've been putting out something maybe in your windowsill to try to bring more people. Well, now you can measure, was that effective? Did people just pass by? Did I have people entering? Did I have them engaging with me? Or did my efforts have any success at all? You can really see how that could be useful in a retail environment, but it might not be useful in every environment. So just keep these in mind for any time you're in retail or any time somebody really wants to know who's actually coming in contact and using our Wi-Fi. All right, guys. Lastly, we have the connectivity analytics. Now, the connectivity analytics is going to be a type of piece of this. It's called Clarity as well, if you're familiar with Airwave and kind of where this started. But you're going to be able to see a lot of information about association, authentication, what logs, did they try to connect, were they kicked off, what actually happened. This is an analytics engine for every single person that went to connect. This is a very proactive way for you to keep an idea of what's happening in your network so that you can solve problems before they happen. This is a tool that's going to help you kind of stop being a firefighter and help you to notice something that's going wrong and do something about it before it becomes a real issue for you. Now, connectivity analytics is really useful in any situation, but I would definitely say if you've have somebody that's interested in either managing, not managing, but monitoring their environment to the detail that you get here, that person might be somebody that's also using something like the service assurance client side. This really works in complementary with that other product because now you have a client measurement and you also have a measurement just showing how well those people might be connecting or not connecting in your environment. So that really covers all the features that we have for Aruba Central. Let's talk about a little bit, how is it purchased? So Aruba Central is purchased on a device basis. Every device that you have, you buy a subscription for it, whether that be an access point, Aruba OS switch. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. We have a 1, 3, and 5-year subscription that you can add to it, and you can see these priced out right here. A couple of advantages I'd like to just kind of point out here. Unlike some of the competition, we don't have different licenses for, say, higher-end switches. So you're not going to be paying an exorbitant amount to manage, say, your 3810 or 5400 switch that might have a little bit more routing capability. You're paying the same amount regardless of the switch or access point that you might be managing. Now, besides that, if for whatever reason you decide that Aruba Central isn't for you, you started using it and you want to let it go away, that's okay. These are instant access points and switches. They're going to work even without using cloud. So this gives you the flexibility to move into it, maybe manage your customers' networks or have them manage it themselves, or move out of that solution into just regular instant, or even move cross from instant over to something like controller-based. Just know you have a lot of flexibility with Aruba Central. It might be for you. You might like it. You might not. And it's okay either way. Now, in order to keep some of the costs down, we've taken some of the services that used to be just bundled into regular Aruba Central, and we've cut them away. What we saw was that people didn't always use those services. So we said, why not just let somebody pay for the management if that's all they need, and if they would like some of the additional services, we'll add that on later. You basically would buy these service tokens for access points only. They can't really be applied to switches. They're only for access points. And you would get one token for each capability that you wanted to enable. So let's just say, for instance, that somebody wanted to enable guest and clarity. They didn't really care too much about presence analytics, and they had 5 access points. Well, they could add 10 service tokens to those 5 access points, one for each of those services they wanted to enable, and then they could have both of those services for the access points. Now, I do realize that this does mean that you could be doing up to 3 for these, but typically I usually see somebody utilizing one of the services for the access points and not really going for all 3. So generally, I do see the cost of these being a little bit lower than the competition just because you're buying the exact service that you want and not really going all in. But let's say maybe the price might be a little bit much for you. That's okay. There are some promotions and different things that we can do to keep that cost down. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Mike Herb. He's one of our senior market development specialists, and he's going to talk a little bit about what you can do to keep the price down.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. Is everybody able to hear me okay? We're good on sound?
We're good, Mike.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. As far as the Aruba Central promotions go, we have a very popular promo going on right now for IAPs, and Aruba Central is included in that. The IAP promo, which has been extended and goes until the end of April 30th of 2019, is buy 3, get 2 free access points. Just to give you an overview of that, end customers get 2 free Aruba Instant Access Points when purchasing 3. There's a maximum of 50 units, and you can get up to 20 for free. Now, additionally to that, as a part of the promo, if you can look in yellow, there's an additional option where you can purchase 1 year of Central Cloud Management licenses, or a license, excuse me, you will receive 2 tokens for that purchase, which you can use for the device and to expand your Aruba Central capabilities for only $30. Okay, the recommended promotional list price or equivalent. So if you look in the graph in the middle of the slide there, we've got the SKUs that are associated with it for the 1 year, which is Juliet Yankee 925 Alpha Alpha Echo. That's the one you'd be paying $25 for the promo price. And then you get the 2 tokens in addition to that for Juliet Yankee 928 Alpha Alpha Echo times 2. The big deal is listed down there, 96220-467. We've had a lot of success with this program. You can see over to the right there, basically, you're talking about 1 year cloud management for only $30. That's a recommended price for the end user. Okay, and once again, you can see the effective dates from February 1st to April 30th of this year. All right, another Aruba Central Cloud promo that we have has to do with E-Rate, and it's a bundle for E-Rate customers. This exclusive bundle for E-Rate eligible partners provides a 5-year license for a really low price. The part number for that is Juliet Zulu 017 Alpha Alpha Echo. Once again, you're going to get 2 tokens, this time for a 5-year subscription, and it's part of an E-Rate bundle. They've got the MSRP there of $275, and the main reason they do that and don't list a price for it necessarily is because the pricing can be combined with deal registration, special pricing, and also somebody's HP partner ready for networking discounts. All right, so all of that's a part of that. A couple of caveats down there with the asterisks. Schools and libraries must meet the definitions for becoming a part of the E-Rate, which is basically our not-for-profit. Also, if you want to be eligible for the E-Rate discount on the Aruba Central Cloud Controller Bundle, you need to take E-Rate compliance training. We at Ingram Micro can assist you with that, so just reach out to us, and we can help you with that if you have not had that taken care of yet. Okay, moving on. In addition to the Aruba Central discounts, we also have our promos, we have the 2019 Partner Growth Campaign for all people who decide to enroll in that. In the past, we've taken people to Italy. We've also taken people to Iceland. This year, we're taking 15 winners actually, for the 2019 Partner Growth Campaign to Ireland. You can see that it is a 6-month campaign. It runs from February 1st through July 21st of 2019. If you're registered and you're participating, you'll have a chance to earn an all-expense-paid trip to Ireland. You'll be hosted and accompanied by Ingram Micro and HPE and Intel executives. Okay, the 2019 campaign is driven by a points system that includes points accumulated for purchases within and over your Ingram Micro and HPE established quota, as well as bonus points for purchasing products from multiple HP product solutions. So you can get points for servers, storage, software, networking services, and just about anything associated with the HPE. Taking qualifying webinars, attending events, and completing surveys will also get you an additional points. You can see there a particular importance to us, since we represent Aruba, is that you get points for being a member of Aruba Go. If you need help with registering for that, once again, you can contact Ingram Micro, and we'll be glad to help you with that. And just lastly, I'll reiterate, 15 winners are chosen, and you get smaller prizes throughout. If you want details, you can visit im-growing.com, and we can bring you up to date, or once again, reach out to representatives at Ingram Micro to assist you with the 2019 Partner Growth Campaign. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate that. All right, guys, that's going to do it here for the slide deck portion. We're going to go ahead and move right on over to the demo. So let me go ahead and assign this over to Jon Busshart. He's going to be demoing this for us.
Let me know when I'm all set. There we go.
Hey, Jon, that's right over to you.
Yep. And let's see. Can everybody see my desktop?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, we can.
So
John.
my name is Jon Busshart.
John.
So my name is Jon Busshart. I'm a business transformation center engineer. My main goal is to provide you demonstrations as well as proof of concepts, and I can show you about all the new HP technologies that are out there. I can make you familiar with the technologies, and then once you extend those out to your customers, I can allow them to have access to this technology as well. All right, so obviously HP comes out a lot and says, hey, we've got new technologies, run, don't walk, you should be selling more of these technologies, and I know as well as you know that not all the technologies make sense for your line of business or for your customers' needs, so I'm here to help you kind of source through that or parse that out from a technical perspective and allow you to get hands-on to things like that. And again, once you start farming out these opportunities and you want to kind of punt your opportunity kind of over the field goal, it's good to interact with me and allow them to get hands-on. I guess the analogy I like to use in this case is nobody, watches the marketing material, watches TV and sees the car ad and then runs to the car lot and signs their name on the dotted line. They want to drive the car before they purchase it, and I'm allowing you to be able to do something that with the opportunities that you have. So today I'm going to show you a little bit on Aruba Central here. So this is my Aruba Central connection here. As you can see, I've logged into Aruba Central. Central at arubanetworks.com, and I just put in my username and password. Now, before I kind of dig into this, I'm going to kind of get your head kind of wrapped around what we are looking at here. So first off, we've got a current app is what they call it, and we're under monitoring reporting, but we have a variety of different apps. I have the guest services app loaded up as well. We'll tinker with that in a little bit, but no matter what I select over here will dictate what I see down below here. Another thing I think it's important to note
hey, John, sorry
is
to
what
interrupt.
are we? Yeah.
I think
Sure.
a few of us are having some troubles seeing the screen. It looks like a gray square for a few of us.
All right, let's try sharing this. Let's try share my screen. Let's try that. Is that better?
There we go. Yes, that did the trick. Thank you.
There we go. All right, sorry about that. So here's the Aruba Central interface, so I'll kind of go over that again. Over here is the current app that I'm running, and whatever I select over here will dictate what I see down below here, and obviously whatever I select here will show over here as well. Now, another section that I like to make people aware of is up here. So what am I looking at, or what am I going to be working on? So we'll have groups of devices. In this case, we're going to have groups of instant controllers. And I have one set of instant controllers that I have within our business transformation center that we're managing here. But the relationship here is say I am going to do a wireless guest network, and I'm McDonald's, and I want to spread that out to all the location branches that are out there. Well, I take all those branches and I create a group out of them, and whatever I did at the group will get passed on to the virtual controller level. But maybe at the individual branches, I might want to have different network configurations or change things locally that won't get propagated elsewhere. Well, I would manage at a virtual controller level in this case. Okay, so right now we're kind of looking at all devices. As you can see, we can see our usage as well as our client count. I can go down here, maybe click on this client and get a little bit more information on this client inside this environment. Right, I can see that it's currently connected. I can see what wireless networks it is connected to. If I scroll down a little bit here, I can see their usage and their health. And a little bit further down, that wonderful app RF information that Josh was talking about. So application categories, the exact application. So you can see some Skype going on here. I go down even further. I can see the categories they run into, as well as whether they're trustworthy sites. And then even further down, I can see the history of the access points. Whoops. The history of the access points that this client is connected to. All right. And I can also go across, what SSID are they connected to? Right. If you notice, we're no longer in network overview. We're all talking about the client information. So what access point are they currently connected to? Their performance and quality, radio, channel utilization. There's a lot of reporting within Central, a lot of great reporting. And I can actually go over and look at the access point. We can go through this. We can look at the client count, bandwidth usage, any event logs that might have existed. Right, so again, that's kind of the overview. Again, right now we're looking at the monitor and reporting section of all of this, right? And we could go look at access points directly if we wanted to. So maybe we'll take a look at the one that's in our classroom. Right, we can see CPU utilization, memory utilization, and then bandwidth utilization that's happened, client count. Again, the wonderful app RF information, so app categories, the individual apps that are being used. So again, we see some Microsoft Office 365 categories and whether or not we've got trustworthy sites going on inside the environment. I can also extend out this view if I wanted to. We could go look out, maybe we'll look out a week, right, and look at the data for certain periods of time. Right. Go back over to network overview, and maybe we'll go take a look at security. I got this little box I got to move. Right, and we'll look at maybe intrusion detection. Right, so we get an idea of some of the attacks that are happening within our environment. So that's kind of the network monitoring overview. What I'm going to do for you real quick is I've got a client over here. Right, it doesn't have internet access right now, so if I go to the App Store, you see it's not connected. Right, if you look down here, you'll see I'm disconnected. And we're actually going to create a guest wireless network for this guy to connect up to. So what we'll do is I'm going to change my app real quick, and we're going to go over to the guest access page, and we're going to look at the splash page. And I've actually created a splash page that we're going to utilize today to kind of quicken things up. But if we click on the little eyeball icon here, it'll open up another page, and we'll get to view into what the users around our Business Transformation Center see if they want guest wireless access into the environment. That's a nice looking splash page, high resolution. This would be used with the Advanced Services token that we were talking about a little bit earlier. You get this. There is a basic guest access page that you can use, and I'll show you the differences between that right now. Now, to create this, it's not very difficult. We could go over here, and I'll click on the edit or the little crayon icon. We'll bring that up. You can see the settings. I've got a name, how they're going to be authenticated, what happens after they're authenticated. I've decided to drop you off at ingrammicro.com because I'm sure that after you see our presentation today, you're going to go over there and order a whole bunch of Aruba access points. And then session timeout, I'm timing out a session in 8 hours. If I wanted to make them sticky in the environment, meaning they didn't have to re-authenticate, I would enable MAC address caching. But a whole variety of things that I can set. We could look under whitelisting. So if I'm Delta Airlines or I'm American Airlines or something like that, I may not want users to get out on the guest wireless access without putting a username and password, but I might want them to check their flight delays and arrivals and things like that, so I could whitelist those if I felt like it. If I look under customization, right, some different colors that I could set within the background, different logos that I could present. Obviously, we want to put some terms and conditions on using our wireless, so we could certainly pop those in there as well. Ad settings, just a whole variety of things, and then obviously localization underneath. And these are some of the text that we had seen within the pop-up that had come up. Right, so this page has already been created. That's part of our splash pages. We're going to use that, and I'm going to quickly create a guest wireless access. And a lot of these menus, if you've used Aruba Instant, they'll look a little bit familiar, as you would see within an instant interface. Again, I'm going to change my app, and I'm going to go over to the wireless management app. All right, and now it's asking me to select the group. Again, I was looking at all devices, so I could work at a Business Transformation Center group. You see these wireless connections created here, and those have been passed down to the individual virtual controllers that are in there. So if I select this virtual controller, which is a part of that group, you'll see the same wireless networks exist. All right, what I'm going to do within this one instant setting within our Business Transformation Center, I'm going to make a change within this. I'm going to make a guest wireless network within this, and we're going to see it's not going to propagate itself on up. So I'm going to click the plus sign here. And we're dropped off at basic settings, and we'll say our guest demo. It's going to be a wireless. We're not going to do an employee network. We're actually going to do a guest network. It'll give us a few different settings, and I got a variety of different things here as well. I think what I like to point out is this bandwidth limit. So just because I'm giving people wireless access, I may want to make sure that the people who are actually doing work inside the environment have access to the internet to be able to get the access to their cloud applications, their Office 365 and things like that. And that I'm scared because people are eating up all the bandwidth. So maybe I want to limit my network connection in this fashion. So downstream we'll do about 2 2 gigs, and upstream will only do about 512. I might even want to limit that a little bit lower, but we'll leave that for today. And I'll click Next. Next, VLAN assignment. So first, how is the client IP address assigned? We're going to assign it through the virtual controller, so there's certainly a DHCP server set up here. If I do it this way, I'll create a little net router for each client, so they'll be segmented, so they can't necessarily attack each other. If you got a bad guy in the same wireless network, they'll be protected, but I could certainly do network assigned and get a DHCP address from something that's on the network. But we'll do virtual controller assigned. I'm going to leave the default VLAN assignment, which would be just as access VLAN, but I could certainly do a custom VLAN if I felt like it. Click Next again. And now what's the splash page going to be? Right now it's set for Cloud Guest, but again, for the basic type of interface, I could use an internal authenticated here, and these would be the settings for that. But let me show you, let me change the color a little bit. It shows a little bit better if I pick a different color. Let me do a review of the splash page. So this would be the basic splash page that you get. It's kind of nice. It's not bad. I could put a logo up in the corner as well if I felt like it, and I do have the ability to do that right over here. But that's about the extent of what you can do. So that's why I like to use the Cloud Guest. I could use that fancy guest page that I created showed you guys a little bit earlier. So we're going to select that. All right, and obviously it could be encryption. And disabled if the uplink changes actually from its normal uplink. So we'll click Next one more time. And now we're going to do unrestricted access. Well, actually, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I probably want to restrict people in some way, shape, or form. Now, I could create roles on what I'm going to show you here, but I'm actually just going to do a network base. But again, whatever I configure in here, I could create a role out of that and assign that. And right now, you can see our limited as far as our bandwidth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click plus. I'm going to make some changes. And this should pop up in a second. All right. So I could limit by, let's say, web category. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of different things I might want to limit as far as web categories are concerned, and I definitely want to spend the time to do something like that. I'm going to do something a little bit simpler to make us move along. I'm going to select News and Media, and I'm actually going to deny that. All right. I'm going to click Save. All right. And I'm going to reorder this. Right.
Hey, Jon, you have a pop-up there that's blocking a little bit of your screen. It's just like a reminder. You got a reminder, like one of the Outlook reminders popped up.
Did I? Sure. What? Sure. I don't have Outlook on this machine, so I don't know.
You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. So well, we've gone through. We've added these two settings, so we could actually have to change that. Go back over here. So we got the deny news and media. So next, I'm gonna maybe I want to limit YouTube again. I don't want the next kitty cat video to kind of use up all the bandwidth that's out there. So I might select the application, right, and we'll search YouTube. Right, and maybe I want to allow that. But I want to restrict the bandwidth, so application throttling, so maybe we'll do 256K down, and we're not going to let people really upload, so maybe we'll do a 56K up so you can get mouse clicks up there at least. And we'll click Save, right, and then again we'll reorder this. All right, so that's ready to roll. And we'll click Finish. So that's a quick way to be able to protect the user network to make sure if you're providing guest access that people won't necessarily use their lion's share of the connection or do bad things on your environment. And we can see that our guest demo exists up here. Now if I change the view and actually look at all the groups all together, you'll see that wireless will not show up here. And then here's my client over here. Again, no internet access for this guy right now. Oops. I got this little pop-up customer want to move. So let me go connect to this. Let's see, there's our guest demo. We'll connect. See the splash page pops up in a second or two. And then I'm going to click Enter. And then next it'll drop me off at the Ingram Micro website, because that's where I want you to go place your orders. Right? And I could certainly go over to other sites, something like maybe Google.com. So I'm allowed to be able to do that. Right? But if I go to something like CNN.com, you see it's going to stop me. I'll actually click on that. You can see we're going to time out, and actually it'll pop back a little bit of warning telling me that I have been blocked in a little bit. All right, so that's my kind of quick demo on Aruba Central. Certainly we could go into, much more detail. If you want to engage with me, we can do this via WebEx. You're more than welcome to come up here to Buffalo, bring your customers up here to Buffalo. Niagara Falls is very close. You can certainly wine and dine them as you're learning these new type of technologies. Hope that gives you a good sense. I do certainly have a YouTube video website that is available. If you search Ingram BTC or Business Transformation Center or Jon Busshart, it'll pop up, and you can kind of follow through or take a look at other technologies that HP has to offer. So with that being said, I'll pass it back on over to Josh.
All right. Thank you very much, John. All right, that really actually does it here for us. So let's see. I think you'd have to assign it back to me, but that's okay. I think we're pretty much good. Did anybody else have any questions? Anything else? Anything you wanted to ask real quick while we have John and myself on the line? No. All right, I think that's everything then. I'll go ahead and let you guys all go back to your days. Thanks for attending here with us.
I had a
and
quick
have a
question.
wonderful. Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, anyone might have already asked this, but where would this fit into the management family of Airwave and ClearPass?
This is going to be more of your cloud-based management. Airwave is more of an on-prem solution. It's multi-vendor and would work with lots of different solutions. Aruba Central, however, is only going to be working with your Aruba OS switches as well as your instant access points. Now, ClearPass is more of your network authentication solution. So you can think of this as the cloud-based management versus a security-based solution like ClearPass, or more of an on-premise network monitoring and management solution like Airwave.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Were there any other questions that we had here today? Alrighty then. Well, I'll go ahead and reiterate, thank you guys very much for joining with us. We'll be going ahead and posting this up on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch it or you'd like a colleague to watch it as well, they can get some of the same information, and have a wonderful rest of your day.